1 trillion USD and 10,000 power level in the Dragon Ball world. Which one would you pick? Right now, my brother and I have two options in front of us. As someone who transmigrated from the blue planet to this parallel world, of course I watched the Dragon Ball anime in my past life. With 10,000 power level, not to mention ruling the entire galaxy, becoming the master of the solar system is definitely no problem. So I made up my mind without hesitation to pick the 10,000 power level. Just as I raised my hand to tap the futuristic ore in front of me, my parents both moved at the same time and slammed me hard to the ground, yelling at the top of their lungs at the same time. Ah-Chen, you go first. It's just that my parents have always favored my little brother Ah-Chen since we were kids and made me let him pick first for everything. I saw a wicked grin spread across Ah-Chen's face as he lifted his finger to tap the tech interface and said at the same time, "Obviously I'm picking the power level, duh. The apocalypse is coming really soon. No amount of money will be worth anything then. Even though I have no clue what this Dragon Ball world is about, it can't be too bad, right? As for my dearest older brother, you can take your 1 trillion USD and go feed the monsters like a good boy." Right after Ah-Chen tapped the futuristic ore, his figure turned into a beam of blue light and vanished. All I could do was hold the 1 trillion USD bank card and leave the house dejectedly. 1 month later, the apocalypse is about to hit. Even though I lost the 10,000 power level, I still have to find a way to survive. I bought an abandoned prison and renovated it into a shelter. I also spent a fortune buying enough daily supplies to last 50 years. All kinds of latest laser weapons developed by Longguo, and Gundams are stored in the warehouse. After I spent all 1 billion USD, I started my retirement life inside the shelter. I originally thought that my brother, who got the 10,000 power level, must have become the ruler of Earth by now, but I never expected that 3 years later, my brother, who had lost one arm, dragged my mother's corpse and knocked on the shelter's door. After hesitating for a long time, I opened the shelter door and let my brother in. But I never expected that after he finished a full meal, he pulled out a pistol and shot me dead right away. Right before I died, I only heard Ah-Chen's dark, twisted voice. What a load of crap. That Dragon Ball world. It's all a scam. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the choice scene from 3 years ago. It was the same familiar scene. My parents were holding me down tightly to let my brother pick first. I saw Ah-Chen with a dark look on his face and pressed the 1 trillion USD option without hesitation. He took the bank card, brought my parents with him, and when they left the shabby apartment, he was muttering non-stop about something. 10,000 power level is a total scam. Starting today, I'm the richest man in the world. I stood there confused for a long time. I really couldn't figure out why my brother, who picked the 10,000 power level in my past life, ended up like that. After hesitating for a moment, I pressed the option box. Ding! Host has selected Dragon Ball 10,000 power level, unlocked after completing 3 prerequisite tasks. Host's current power level, 5 points. Teleportation initiated. As a beam of blue light flashed by, I was sent to the Dragon Ball world I'd watched countless times on Blue Planet in my past life. At the same time, 3 prerequisite tasks popped up in my head. Task 1. Set up Goku and Bulma in the main timeline to become a couple. Task 2. Prevent the tragedy of one-armed Gohan in the future timeline. Task 3. Help Lord Frieza grow 10 centimeters taller. The moment I saw the tasks, I laughed. Aren't these the top 3 most regretful plot points from the Dragon Ball forums in my past life? For people who don't know the Dragon Ball plot, these are literally impossible tasks to complete. No wonder Ah-Chen from my past life until he died was still a power level 5 loser holding a gun. But I only thought for a tiny bit and already came up with a solution. First, I just need to stop young Goku from meeting Chi-Chi in the main timeline. That's it. With all the experiences Goku and Bulma had while searching for the Dragon Balls, the two of them getting married and having kids will definitely happen naturally. I immediately ordered hundreds of copies of Teacher Kang's photo books to give to Master Roshi, and became close friends with him despite our age gap. Then I asked him to go to Fire Mountain and put out the fire. That way Goku and Bulma will skip the entire Fire Mountain plot completely. Sure enough, with all the arrangements I made, they ended up getting married and having son Gotenks. First task completed easily. The system then teleported me to the future timeline. The task for this timeline is even easier to finish. As the saying goes, if Gohan skips studying, Cell cries, then Boo cries. This most talented Saiyan in history, if he focuses all his energy on training, Even God of Destruction Beerus will get beaten to a pulp. So I directly applied to become Son Gohan's teacher. After a round of threats and intimidation, I got little Gohan to totally hate going to school. So he had no choice but to return to his father, Goku, and train to be a martial artist. So when the android crisis broke out over a decade later, Gohan, who had already reached the Mystic Gohan state, took out Android 17 and Android 18 with one hand. The tragic ending of one-armed Gohan was easily avoided. As for the final mission, helping Lord Frieza grow 10 centimeters taller, I still couldn't think of a good solution. Did I have to wish on Shenron like in the original story? Just as I was thinking of a way, the system teleported me again. When I saw what was in front of me, I burst out laughing right away. The system actually sent me to the era when Frieza was just born. Little Frieza was still sealed on the Frost Demon planet. I just pulled him right out of the ice, tossed him on a spaceship, and sent him to Earth. Then the famous meme that my past life netizens love to talk about became a reality. Grandpa Gohan found the little Lord Frieza in the forest. Under Grandpa Gohan's careful care, well-nourished Frieza grew up, and when he reached adulthood, his height hit 1.6 meters. He even replaced Goku as Earth's protector. With that, all 3 pre-missions were successfully completed. I also got the 10,000 Dragon Ball power level as I wanted. I returned to the real world. The second the blue light exploded, I felt an extremely powerful force surging out from every part of my body. When my vision cleared, the familiar rundown apartment building came into view. It was exactly where I lived after I transmigrated. The watch on my wrist clearly showed the time. There were 30 days left before the dimensional barrier broke and the apocalypse fell on Earth. But no one knew what the apocalypse would actually look like. The strength of the invading enemies was also unknown. Even though a 10,000 Dragon Ball power level was already enough to destroy a whole planet, dimensional invasion definitely can't be fought alone. If Earth stays divided between different countries, fighting separately will only get us wiped out one by one. After a short moment of thinking, I came up with a defense plan. Use my absolute power to intimidate the whole world, take control of all destructive weapons, make Dragon Country the core defense hub of Earth, then combine the power of all Awakeners. Form a guard army that can fight the dimensional invasion. Once the plan was set, I didn't hesitate at all. I tapped my feet lightly. Bukujutsu let me shoot across the sky like a meteor, heading straight for the UK's Black House. Tens of thousands of kilometers only took me a few minutes. The UK's air defense system was completely useless against me. Countless missiles flew up towards me. I just waved my hand casually. A wave of ki crushed all the missiles into powder. My pressure pressed down right above the Black House. Inside the Black House meeting room, Chuan was slamming the table and shouting that he would impose sanctions on Dragon Country. Suddenly, the glass curtain wall shattered with a loud crash. I floated in the middle of the meeting room. The kui around me made all the UK senior officials present unable to breathe. Who are you, sir? How dare you break into the Black House? Do you know this is a declaration of war? Chuan roared, fierce on the outside but weak inside, his hand quietly reaching for the emergency button under the table. I didn't bother talking nonsense with him. My gaze swept across the Black House dome. I lifted my right fist lightly. A condensed ki fist blasted out with a loud noise. I didn't intentionally release full destructive power, but still accurately destroyed the main structure of the whole Black House. As bricks and rubble scattered everywhere, not a single person was hurt. This was the precise control of 10,000 power level, and also the warning I gave to the UK amid the roar of falling bricks and stones. Chuan collapsed on the ground, his face as pale as paper. He couldn't even speak a word. Inform the whole world to hand over control of all nuclear facilities to Dragon Country for unified management. My voice was vibrating with chi, ringing in everyone's ears. If you refuse, everyone here will die. After leaving the UK, I turned and flew to Bear Country. On the square of the Kremlin, Apu was reviewing the troops. When he saw me flying over, he immediately ordered the anti-aircraft guns to fire. Bear Country's artillery was way more powerful than the UK's, but still couldn't even touch the hem of my clothes. I condensed a wisp of ki on my fingertip, flicked it lightly, and shattered the spire of the Kremlin. The pressure from my ki instantly covered the whole square. All the soldiers' weapons fell to the ground. They couldn't even stand up even if they wanted to. Apu is a tough guy, but he knows when to give in. Faced with absolute power, he didn't hesitate at all. Immediately agreed to hand over control of nuclear facilities. I know you have ambitions and conflicts, but in 30 days, Earth will face an unprecedented crisis. I looked at Apu, my tone ice cold. If nuclear facilities fall into your hands, they'll only become tools for your self-destruction. Dragon Nation is the only force capable of protecting Earth. After leaving the Bear Nation, I went on to visit several nuclear-armed countries one after another. Everywhere I went, I intimidated their leaders with my absolute combat power. None of the countries dared to resist even a little. It's not that they don't want to, but in front of 10,000 combat points. All military forces are just like children's toys, totally vulnerable. In just 3 days, the control rights of all nuclear facilities across the world all fell into Dragon Nation's hands. Dragon Nation swiftly established the Global Defense Command Center to centrally allocate global military resources and manpower, achieving unprecedented global unification. No bloodshed, no wars, all thanks to my 10,000 Dragon Orb combat points, which became the most solid stabilizing anchor for Earth. Right as Dragon Nation unified the whole world, spatial fluctuations across the world grew more and more intense. A special kind of energy started spreading across the globe. Countless humans started experiencing physical mutations. Super-powered awakeners emerged. These awakeners have all kinds of different abilities. After quick classification by Dragon Nation's researchers, they are divided into 4 major systems. Elemental users can control natural elements like fire, water, wind, thunder, and earth. The strongest among them can summon heavenly thunder and earth fire. Strength-type users have extremely enhanced physical strength and speed. They are invulnerable to swords and bullets, strong enough to lift giant cauldrons. Psychic users have abilities like mind reading, thought control, and psychic attacks. Their attacks are invisible and formless, impossible to guard against. Space-type users can teleport, cut space, and create space barriers. This is the rarest superpower system, and also the one with the highest tactical value. For a while, superpowered awakeners appeared all over the world. Some kind-hearted ones voluntarily went to the registration point set up by Dragon Nation, wanting to do their part to protect Earth. There are also malicious ones who use their powers to commit crimes, burning, killing, and looting, treating human lives like worthless grass. In response, I set down rules. All superpowered awakeners must register. Those willing to join the Guardian ranks will get resource training from Dragon Nation. Anyone who dares to commit crimes will be eliminated without mercy. To build a real Earth defense army, I set up superpower selection points on every continent across the globe. I personally oversee the main selection point in Dragon Nation to select awakeners with outstanding talent and upright character. Right when the selection was in full swing, a group of evil superpowered awakeners abroad just had to walk right into the line of fire. Old capital of the UK, a group of evil awakeners who call themselves free superpowered users gathered together. Leading them were 4 high-ranked superpowered users. Red Bull, a strength-type user. His body is enhanced to the extreme. He can withstand tank main gunshots head-on. He tore down police stations in 3 cities with his bare hands. Black Wizard, a psychic user, can control other people's consciousness, making ordinary people kill each other. He has thousands of lives on his hands. Shadow Thorn, a space-type user, is good at teleportation and sneak attacks. He once silently assassinated 3 Dragon Nation administrative staff stationed in the UK. Blaze, an elemental user, can control raging flames. He burned half of the old UK capital's commercial street to ashes. Even the fire system couldn't put the fire out. They don't accept Dragon Nation's global unification, and even disdain to take orders from a strong man who appeared out of nowhere. They threatened to raise Dragon Nation's selection points to the ground and take back the UK's freedom. They even posted a video on the dark web to openly provoke me, saying my combat power is just fancy but useless. When the news reached Dragon Nation's command center, all the generals were furious and requested to send troops to suppress them. I just waved my hand, stood up and flew into the air. A bunch of useless clowns. No need to mobilize a whole army for them. I'll go meet them myself. Central square of the old UK capital. Red Bull and the other 3 were standing on the ruins, followed by hundreds of low-ranked evil superpowered users, recklessly bullying ordinary civilians. When they saw me flying over, Red Bull was the first to roar angrily. His muscles bulged all over his body. He charged at me like a small hill. His fist flew straight at my face with howling wind. You dare call yourself a strength-type powerhouse with this little strength? I sneered. Didn't dodge or avoid. Raised my hand and grabbed his fist casually. Red Bull tried his best to break free, but his fist was as if clamped by a pair of iron pliers. Not moving at all. I applied a little force. Only a few crisp, cracking sounds were heard. All of Red Bull's finger bones broke. His screams echoed across the square. I flicked my hand casually and threw him out like a piece of trash. He crashed into the ruins and passed out. How dare you hurt my brother? When Blaze saw this, he roared and waved his hand. Tens of meters high flames shot into the sky, turning into a fire dragon and pouncing at me. The scorching heat warps all the surrounding air. I just casted a casual glance. The energy around me ripples gently and forms an invisible barrier. The fire dragon slams into the barrier and vanishes without a trace instantly. Not even a wisp of heat can get through. I gather a thread of energy at my fingertip and flick it toward the flame demon. The energy thread pierces his flame barrier and hits him right in the dantian, instantly crippling his elemental powers. The flame demon collapses to the ground, unable to summon even a spark of flame anymore. His eyes are filled with pure terror when the dark wizard sees his two companions defeated instantly. A gloomy, vicious look flashes across his face. He secretly launches a mental attack, trying to take control of my mind. But his mental power against mine is like a firefly next to a full moon. I just have a single thought. An overwhelming mental pressure wraps around him. The dark wizard feels like his head is about to explode. He coughs up blood and collapses to the ground. His mental power is completely shattered, turning him into a total idiot. The sneakiest one, Shadow Assassin, sees things going south and tries to teleport away, but his spatial fluctuations can't hide from my 10,000 combat power energy perception at all. He just activates his teleport. When I appear right at his teleport destination, I reach up and grab him by the neck and lift him up in midair. Aren't you good at sneaking attacks? I look at his terrified eyes and speak in an icy tone. How dare you lay a finger on people of Dragon Nation? As soon as I finish speaking, I squeeze slightly and crush his spatial ability core. The Shadow Assassin loses his teleport ability instantly, and I toss him casually to the ground. Hundreds of low-rank, evil power users see all their leaders defeated. They are scared out of their wits and drop to their knees begging for mercy. But I don't show them any mercy. A wave of energy sweeps through and knocks out all the vile, low-rank power users who have committed countless crimes. I leave them to Dragon Nation troops for handling. Red Bull and his 3 partners were executed on the spot for their horrific crimes. This whole fight only lasted a few minutes and completely uprooted the most rampant evil power user organization in the UK. My combat power also completely awed all power users around the world. After that, evil power users everywhere laid low. They either turned themselves in or hid in the shadows too scared to show their faces. And power users signing up at different selection sites came in an endless stream. Out of millions of power users, I picked 100,000 people with exceptional talent and formed the Earth Defense Force. We have 4 legions: Elemental, Enhancement, Mental, and Spatial. They are commanded by Dragon Nation generals, and I serve as the Supreme Commander. I started special training for the Defense Force. I simplified the energy cultivation techniques from the Dragon Ball universe and taught them to the soldiers. I had them combine their powers with energy, so their combat power improved drastically. Just when I was fully focused on building and training the defense force, a familiar voice sounded from the door of the command center. "Oh, my dearest brother, we've been looking for you for ages." I turn around to look. I see my brother Chen standing at the door with our parents. Mom and Dad look a little awkward, but Chen has an arrogant, entitled look on his face. Memories from my past life flood back instantly. My parents' favoritism, my brother's betrayal, the cold muzzle of a gun, and the despair I felt right before I died. My gaze turns cold immediately. "What are you here for?" My tone is flat but carries a faint, undetectable distance. Mom hurries over, grabs my arm, and forces a smile. "Aze, you've made it big now. You're the global commander now. Your brother also wants to do his part to protect the Earth. Look, you have 10,000 combat power now. Can you give half of it to him? We're blood brothers after all. What's yours is his, Dad chimes in from the side. That's right, Aze. Chen is your own little brother. You hold all the power now. It's only right you help your brother out. With that combat power, he can protect us too." Chen puffs out his chest even more and says confidently, "Bro, I know you're super powerful now, but the apocalypse is here. The more strong people we have, the better. Give me 5,000 combat power. I definitely won't hold you back. I can even help you manage those power users later." Listening to their words, I just find it unbelievably ironic. In my past life, they held me down to let Chen pick first. In this lifetime, I relied on my own abilities to get 10,000 combat points and became the guardian of Earth. But now they want to reap the benefits without lifting a finger. They even tried to morally blackmail me. I gently pulled my hand away from my mother's grip and stared at Akin with cold eyes. I can't share my combat points. Get out now if you don't want to die. My words made the 3 people present freeze immediately. Ace, how could you do this? He's your own biological brother. My mother's voice suddenly rose sharply, full of dissatisfaction and blame. We raised you for all these years. Now you're successful and you're disowning your family. I let out a cold sneer and glanced over my parents and brother. Ever since I was little, you only ever cared about Akin. All the good food and fun stuff went to him. When I was wronged or hurt, you only ever said I was being immature. Now I earned these combat points with my own ability. Why on earth would I share them with him? My words left my parents speechless. Akin's face turned so dark it looked like storm clouds were gathering. He glared at me viciously and said, fine. If you're going to be unkind to me, don't blame me for being ruthless back. You won't share your combat points with me. I have my own ways to survive, just you wait. When the apocalypse hits, I'll definitely have a way better life than you. With that, he yanked my parents along and stormed out of the command center. After they left, my adjutant next to me wanted to send people to follow them, but I stopped him, said leave them be. He can't make any real trouble anyway. After leaving the command center, I can use that trillions of dollars to hoard supplies like crazy all over the world. Food, water, medicine, weapons. He bought up everything that could be useful in the apocalypse. At the same time, he paid top dollar for all dimensional energy detection devices across the globe and cornered the entire market. He even started pre-sales on the dark web, pricing the supplies and devices at exorbitant rates, hoping to make a fortune off the apocalypse disaster, so everyone would have to beg him for help. He thought his plan was completely foolproof, but little did he know, with my 10,000 combat points sensory ability, his every move is completely under my control. The reason I didn't stop him is just that I think his cheap little tricks are totally nothing compared to the upcoming dimensional invasion that's on the way. If he can just behave himself and stay out of trouble, and survive using these supplies he hoarded, then that's his own skill to pull it off. If he dares to use these supplies and devices to do evil, I won't mind taking out another useless little clown. I looked out the window at the Earth Defense Force doing special training, and watched the increasingly intense spatial fluctuations across the world. I clenched my fist tightly. 30 days passed in the blink of an eye. The moment the dimensional wall shatters, no matter what enemies come through, I will use my 10,000 Dragon Ball combat points to protect this entire planet. Earth is not a lamb that anyone can slaughter as they please. The last second before the dimensional wall shattered, the spatial fluctuations across the world had reached their peak. On the monitoring screens of Dragon Country's Global Defense Command Center, countless red alerts were flashing like crazy. Spatial coordinates all over the world were warping and collapsing. That faint, indescribable, mysterious power now turned into tangible black fog that poured out from the cracks in the sky, blotting out the sun in the sky. A loud rumble echoed out, a deafening noise that shook the entire universe. The dimensional wall covering Earth shattered like glass. Countless spatial cracks ripped open all over the globe. Deep inside, the cracks was churning chaotic black fog, along with pairs of scarlet eyes corrupted by the Cthulhu consciousness that had lost all reason. The first person to step out of the crack made me freeze solid for a full 30 seconds. It was Luffy in Gear 6 Sun God form. His gum-gum fruit had awakened to its maximum power, coating his entire body in golden light. His conqueror's haki was twisted into dark malice by the chaotic black fog. His originally clear eyes were now filled with only madness. As soon as he landed, he raised his hand to strike a divine spear attack. His giant golden fist carried the power of chaos as it smashed towards the Pacific coast. Tsunamis thousands of meters high rose up instantly. Several coastal cities collapsed under the force of his punch's wind. The elemental type division of the Earth Defense Force immediately activated their defense formation. Water, fire, and wind type abilities wove together into a barrier, but it was as fragile as paper under one punch from Gear 6 Luffy and shattered immediately. Dozens of high-level ability users were injured and coughed up blood on the spot. Right behind him was the Sage of Six Paths from the Naruto universe. He was floating 10,000 meters in the sky. The chakra around him was dyed black by the Cthulhu consciousness. His original Six Paths halos turned into chaotic vortices. The chakra of the Ten Tails was churning wildly inside his body. He waved his hand casually. He summoned dozens of celestial meteors empowered by the power of chaos that slammed towards Eurasia with world-destroying force. Dragon Country's laser defense network activated at full power, but it only managed to stop a small handful of them. The rest of the meteors crashed into the ground, blasting out giant craters thousands of meters deep. The ground shook violently. It looked just like the end of the world. Right after that, Ultraman Belial from the Ultra Universe rushed out of the crack in his dark arc form. His body swelled to thousands of meters tall. The Disium ray was twisted by the chaotic dark mist into a pitch-black pillar of light. Everywhere it swept, mountains collapsed, and forests turned into scorched earth. All he had in his eyes was destruction. No one was left alive wherever he went. The superpowered folks of the Enhancement Legion charged desperately. Warriors with fully enhanced physiques, under his light beam, were instantly turned to dust. Thanos from the Marvel Universe held a gauntlet inlaid with infinity stones and walked slowly out of the space crack. His purple skin was covered with a thin layer of gray, chaotic dark mist. The light of the Mind Stone was twisted into scarlet. He snapped his fingers. All living things within 100 miles turned to ash instantly. His obsession with balance was twisted into destruction by Cthulhu's consciousness. His goal was to wipe the entire Earth off the map. The last ones to appear were from the Duluo universe. Tangsen the sea god and Xiaowu the soft-bone Doluo. The couple stepped out of the crack side by side. Tangsan's sea god trident was surrounded by chaotic blue-silver grass. Xiaowu's soft-bone lock carried a pitch-black vicious aura. The divine king powers of the two were completely corrupted by Cthulhu's consciousness. There was no emotion in their eyes at all, only cold killing intent. Tangsan raised his hand and waved. Chaotic blue-silver grass spread across the globe like a tide. All buildings and plants in its path were shredded to pieces. Even the ground was torn into countless gullies by the blue-silver grass. In just 10 minutes, the Earth fell into endless purgatory. The originally well-trained Earth Defense Army, when facing these top anime protagonists that were corrupted by Cthulhu's consciousness, they looked so tiny and insignificant. The 4 superpower legions fought back desperately, but still kept losing ground. Casualties rose at a terrifying rate. On the screen of Dragon Country's Global Defense Command Center, red casualty alerts kept popping up and updating. All the generals had pale faces, but still gritted their teeth to command the troops, building a final line of defense with their flesh and blood. I stood at the top of the command center. The chi around me surged like tides. All 10,000 points of Dragon Ball combat power was unleashed. A chi barrier enveloped the entire command center, blocking countless attack aftershocks. Looking at the miserable scene in front of me, my eyes were ice cold, but I didn't panic at all. These enemies were strong indeed, but they were all corrupted by Cthulhu's consciousness. They lost their original combat intelligence, leaving only their instinct to destroy. That was their fatal weakness. Element Legion, retreat to the inland. Use mountains and rivers as barriers. Summon thunder and earth fire to form a chaos isolation zone. Enhancement Legion, cooperate with the military engineering troops. Activate laser cannons and Gundam mechs. Hold Ultraman Belial back. Buy us some time. Psychic Legion, put up a full psychic barrier. Interfere with the power control of the 6 paths. Sage and Tang San. Space Legion, move with me. Eliminate the chaotic blue-silver grass at fixed points. Support all front lines. My voice was vibrating with chi, spreading to every battlefield across the globe. The originally flustered defense army instantly gained a backbone. All legions immediately acted according to the orders. The originally one-sided battle finally had a glimmer of hope. I tapped my foot lightly, activated the instant transmission technique, and instantly showed up at the area where Tangsan's chaotic blue-silver grass was spreading. I gathered chi at my fingertips and sent out several sharp chi blades. All the tangled, chaotic blue-silver grass in the way was completely cut apart. Space superpowered people followed right behind and completely destroyed the roots of blue-silver grass with space cuts. When Tangsan saw his blue-silver grass destroyed, a trace of viciousness flashed in his scarlet eyes. His sea god trident, carrying chaotic power, slashed at me. The edge of the trident carried power that could tear space apart. I dodged sideways. My iron fist collided with the trident. There was a loud bang. Chi waves surged in all directions. Tangsan was knocked back thousands of meters. I also pulled back using the recoil force and entered a standoff with him. Right at this moment, a ragged figure darted out from the direction of the command center and ran straight towards Tangsan. It was my little brother, A. Chen. He somehow broke through the defense army's line, holding an encrypted metal box in his hand, with a flattering smile on his face, and yelled at Tang San, "Lord Sea God, I'm here to cooperate with you. I know the core defense secrets of the Earth. And I also got the launch switches for half of the nuclear weapons. As long as you help me take over the command center and make me the ruler of the Earth, I'm willing to swear allegiance to you as my lord, I sneer inwardly. Sure enough, this fool, even at this point, is still thinking of cutting corners, trying to seize power by colluding with foreign enemies. That metal box is the nuclear switch key he copied when he snuck into the nuclear control room of the command center. He now holds the launch authority for half of the nuclear weapons. Tang San's gaze fell on the metal box in Ah Chen's hand. A hint of amusement flashed across his scarlet eyes. Corrupted by Cthulhu's consciousness, though he has lost his mind, he still retains the desire to control power. The power of nuclear weapons, to him, is also a usable tool. Hand over the switch, and I'll spare your life. Tang San's voice was icy cold. With no trace of emotion at all, Ah Chen was overjoyed, immediately threw the metal box to Tang San and flattered. Wise are you, Lord Sea God. That Earth's command center. He didn't even finish his sentence when his gaze accidentally swept over Xiao Wu next to Tang San. He was captivated by Xiao Wu's appearance and took a few extra glances. A flicker of greed crossed his eyes. That one look became his death warrant. Tang San's gaze turned extremely cold in an instant. Corrupted by Cthulhu's consciousness, his possessiveness had long been twisted to the extreme. Xiao Wu is his forbidden weakness. Even just being glanced at one extra time is an unforgivable sin. You insignificant auntie, how dare you covet my woman? As soon as Tang San finished speaking, a pitch-black lonely bamboo instantly condensed in his hand. It was the 10-year lonely bamboo transformed from his natal spirit bone, now dyed with the power of chaos, carrying excruciating bone-corroding power. Before Ah Chen could react, the 10-year lonely bamboo had already pierced through his chest. Pitch-black chaotic power instantly flooded into his body. Smashing all his internal organs to pieces, he looked down at the bamboo stuck in his chest, his eyes filled with disbelief and terror. He tried to say something, but could only spit out a mouthful of black blood. His body went limp and fell to the ground, completely lifeless. All this happened in the blink of an eye. Ah Chen's parents, who were following behind him, saw the whole thing with their own eyes. His mother broke down on the spot, wailing as she threw herself at Ah Chen's corpse. His father also collapsed to the ground, his face deathly pale, not saying a word. Only now did they finally realize the son they had doted on since childhood was so stupid and greedy, and this greed ultimately led him to end up dying a brutal death. I looked at Ah Chen's corpse. I felt no ripple of emotion in my heart, only a hint of indifference. He chose this path himself. From the moment he decided to collude with foreign enemies, this ending was already doomed. After Tang San got the nuclear switch, he waved his hand casually. Dozens of nuclear weapons lifted off from the silos, targeting all the defense lines of the Earth Defense Force. My gaze narrowed, and I instantly appeared in the path of the rising nuclear weapons. The chi around me condensed into a huge barrier. All the nuclear weapons crashed into the barrier and exploded completely. The chi barrier didn't move an inch. All the shockwaves from the explosion were absorbed. Not a single defender was hurt. Cheap tricks, I said coldly. I gathered chi at my fingertips and fired several chi blasts, heading straight for Tang San. Tang San raised his sea god trident to block, but was forced to retreat repeatedly by the force of the blasts. Seeing this, Xiao Wu immediately used her soft bone lock, turning into a dark shadow and lunging at me. Her hands wrapped in chaotic power had the strength to crush even diamond. I dodged sideways, and my chi-infused fist slammed into Xiao Wu's back. Xiao Wu was sent flying and crashed into the chaotic blue-silver grass, spitting out blood. While I was fighting fiercely with Tang San and his wife, a shocking change happened on the other battlefield. Ultraman Belial in his dark arc form was fighting against the enhanced Legion and mecha troops, when the dark power in his body and Cthulhu's indescribable power suddenly started violently rejecting each other. His body kept twisting. Pitch-black chaotic mist and dark purple. Dark power clashed wildly inside his body. His several-kilometer-tall body let out a pained roar that echoed across the entire world. Cthulhu's consciousness wanted to completely devour Belial, but it never expected that Belial's dark power had long been rooted in his bones. His obsession to rule the entire Ultra-universe was still buried deep in his soul even after being corrupted. When the chaotic mist tried to completely erase his self-awareness, that obsession finally erupted. The scarlet madness in Belial's eyes gradually faded, A shred of clarity broke through Cthulhu's corruption. The Ultra Universe and the Land of Light are gone. Belial's voice was filled with overwhelming rage and agony. His consciousness snapped back instantly. Scenes of the Ultra Universe being completely destroyed by Cthulhu's consciousness flashed through his mind. The Land of Light was reduced to scorched earth. All Ultra Warriors were wiped out, and all of this was caused by Cthulhu's corruption. His rage instantly turned into boundless hatred. And right now, in his eyes, Thanos, who was also corrupted by Cthulhu, was the perfect target for him to vent his anger on. "You piece of trash, die!" Belial roared loudly. His body grew rapidly once again. He unleashed the full power of his dark arc form. The Deathkium ray was no longer contaminated by the chaotic black mist. It reverted to its original dark purple color. It headed straight for Thanos with world-destroying might. Thanos was raising his hand to use the Power Stone's light to shatter the Space Legion's spatial barriers. When he saw Belial suddenly attack him, a flicker of surprise crossed his eyes. Then he let out a cold sneer. The Power Stone's glow intensified drastically and collided with Belial's Deathsham ray. The collision of these two top-tier forces produced a might comparable to the Big Bang. The space 10,000 meters up in the sky collapsed instantly, forming a huge black hole. The surrounding chaotic black mist was completely swallowed up. Even Gear 6 Luffy's Spirit Spear and the Six Paths Sages, Tayanai Zhenxing, were both pushed back by the aftershock of this force. The two top-tier combatants, Belial and Thanos, began an earth-shattering battle. Belial's dark power was extremely violent. He unleashed Deathsium Ray and Dark Tornado one after another. Every move carried the power to destroy a planet. Thanos relied on the power of the Infinity Gauntlet's gems. Amplification from the Power Stone, teleportation from the Space Stone, and distortion from the Reality Stone. He blocked all of Belial's attacks perfectly. The two fought so fiercely that the sky and Earth turned dark, and the sun and moon lost their light. The entire Earth's crust was trembling non-stop from their battle. Several mountain ranges collapsed. Several oceans flooded inland. This is a God-given opportunity. I saw the battle situation clearly instantly. Belial, regaining consciousness, left Thanos tied up in the fight. And this is the best chance for me to kill Thanos. For Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet, the Power Stone is its core. As long as I shatter the Power Stone, his combat power will be drastically reduced. Without the amplification from the Power Stone, the other gems are no match for me at all. I immediately gave out orders. The Space Legion will fully deploy spatial barriers to trap Tang San and his wife and the Six Paths Sage. The Elemental and Enhancement Legions will hold off Six Paths Luffy. Then I tapped my foot lightly. I activated Bukujutsu. I instantly turned into a stream of light and headed straight for the battlefield where Belial and Thanos were fighting. Thanos was currently in the heat of his fierce battle with Belial. All his attention was focused on Belial. He didn't notice my arrival at all. When Belial saw me approaching, a flicker of vigilance crossed his eyes. But he didn't stop me. All he wanted right now was to tear Thanos to pieces. Even if it meant teaming up with me. "Trash, your time is up," I shouted coldly. All 10,000 points of combat power were gathered in my right fist. The glow of chi turned golden, carrying the power to shatter a planet. It headed straight for Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos sensed the killing intent from behind him. He was shocked in his heart. He immediately tried to use the Space Stone to teleport away. But he was trapped by Belial's Dark Tornado. He couldn't move his body even a little bit. He could only hastily raise the Infinity Gauntlet to block behind him. The Power Stone's glow intensified drastically, trying to withstand my full power attack. The Golden Chi Fist collided with the Power Stone's radiance. A deafening noise echoed across the universe. The Power Stone's glow dimmed instantly, then a crisp cracking sound rang out. The Power Stone embedded in the Infinity Gauntlet shattered completely under my full power attack. The shattering of the Power Stone caused the Infinity Gauntlet's power to drop drastically instantly. Thanos let out a pained roar. His entire arm was shattered by the power of chi. It was covered in blood. Without the amplification from the Power Stone, his body was under the dual impact of Belial's dark power and my chi fist, so it was instantly riddled with holes. I didn't give Thanos any time to catch his breath. I gathered chi at my fingertips. An extremely condensed chi bullet carrying golden glow headed straight for Thanos' forehead. This chi bullet condensed all of my 10,000 points of Dragon Ball combat power. It was powerful enough to shatter a star. Thanos tried to use the Reality Stone to distort the chi bullet, and the Mind Stone to interfere with my consciousness, but none of it worked. The chi bullet pierced through all his defenses. It hit his forehead instantly. A loud bang rang out. Thanos' head exploded violently. His body turned to ash under the power of chi. Not even a single speck of residue was left. The once all-powerful Marvel overlord, Thanos, wielder of the Infinity Gauntlet, had fallen for good. Upon Thanos' death, the Cthulhu consciousness hiding in the chaotic black mist let out an angry roar. That indescribable power fluctuated instantly. All the corrupted characters experienced a brief drop in their power levels. The golden light around Gear 6 Luffy dimmed a little. The Sage of Six Paths' chaotic chakra became disordered. Tang San and his wife's God King power also trembled slightly. Belial watched as Thanos turned to flying ash. The anger in his eyes died down a little. He glanced at me and said nothing. Then he turned into a stream of dark purple light and charged towards the space crack in the sky. His target was the Cthulhu consciousness source, hidden deep inside the space crack. He wanted to get justice for the fall of the Ultraman universe. I stood 10,000 meters up in the sky, watching Belial's retreating back. Then I glanced at the guards still resisting below, and the characters corrupted by Cthulhu consciousness. A flash of resolve crossed my eyes. Thanos may be dead, but the fight is far from over. The Cthulhu consciousness is still lurking deep inside the space crack. Those corrupted top-tier characters are still a huge threat to Earth. When the exhausted guards saw this, they burst out with overwhelming fighting spirit instantly. The power of the four ability legions gathered again and fought to the death against the corrupted powerhouses. But now that the strongest Thanos is dead, Tang San and the others are nothing to fear. I stood 10,000 meters up in the sky. Golden energy around me surged like tides. My voice, carried by the vibrating energy, spread across every battlefield. Space Legion, initiate full domain blockade. Don't let anyone escape. Element Enhancement Legion, flank from left and right. Psychic Legion, keep releasing psychic. Barriers to mess with their power control. The four ability legions acted immediately upon order. Hundreds of thousands of guards formed a tight battle formation, like an invisible Skynet, trapping the three top remaining enemies firmly in the center. The first one to attack was Gear 6 Luffy. The golden light of his sun god form had dimmed greatly. The viciousness of his conqueror's haki also weakened a little. He still roared and swung his divine soul spear. The giant golden fist carried the remaining chaotic energy and slammed into the Enhancement Legion's battle formation. The soldiers of the Enhancement Legion had long combined energy with physical body enhancement. Dozens of high-level powerhouses stood side by side and condensed a solid physical shield barrier. At the same time, thunder ability users of the Element Legion summoned heavenly thunder. Several thick bolts of heavenly thunder struck Luffy's fist. The crackling electric current made his movements freeze instantly. I moved in a flash and appeared right behind Luffy. I gathered energy in my palm. A gentle but extremely powerful blast of energy hit him right on the back. It directly scattered the chaotic energy inside his body, and also broke his Gomu Gomu no Mi awakened form. Luffy reverted back to his normal form. The craziness in his eyes gradually faded, but he collapsed to the ground from power exhaustion. Before he could regain consciousness, several space shackles locked him up. I originally wanted to spare his life, but the remaining Cthulhu consciousness inside his body was still struggling. To eliminate any future risks, I condensed a wisp of energy bullet on my fingertip and shot it straight through his glabella. The protagonist of One Piece, the Pirate King, fell on the dimensional battlefield of Earth. Next was Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the Sage of Six Paths. Without the boost of chaotic energy, his Six Paths chakra was in total disorder. The summoning power of his heavenly shock star was less than 10%. He could only rely on his remaining chakra to cast ordinary jutsu. The powerhouses of the Psychic Legion seized the opportunity and released full-power mental shocks. Waves of invisible mental power pierced into the Sage of Six Paths sea of consciousness like needles, messing up his chakra control. The Space Legion kept cutting the space around him, leaving him nowhere to hide. The water and fire powers of the Element Legion interwove into a huge cage, trapping him inside. I walked slowly towards him, looking at this creator god of the Naruto universe, now roaring like a trapped beast. I felt no pity at all in my heart. The Cthulhu consciousness had corrupted his origin. Even if the chaotic energy was cleared away, his sea of consciousness had long been eroded and could never be restored. I raised my hand and waved. Several energy bullets shot out and sliced the Sage of Six Paths' body into pieces, wiping out the remaining chaotic soul inside him as well. The Six Paths halo 10,000 meters in the sky completely disappeared. The top combat power of the Naruto universe had fallen. Finally, only Tang-san and his wife Xiao Wu were left. Right now, Tang-san's chaotic blue-silver grass on the sea. God Trident had long withered. His God King power was dim and lifeless. But the look he gave me still carried gloom and unwillingness, and even a hint of hypocritical malice. He knew he had nowhere to run, but he still tried to confuse the surrounding guards with words. I am the sea god of the Dulo universe. You lowly earth ants. How dare you oppose me? If you let me leave, I will grant you all the power of immortality. If you insist on pushing me too far, I will detonate my own supreme god origin and perish together with this earth. I couldn't help sneering at these words. From start to finish, he never realized his own mistakes. He killed recklessly after being corrupted by Cthulhu's consciousness. Now he's at the end of his rope, yet he still wants to use empty promises to deceive people. Such a sanctimonious face. Is even more disgusting than a pure villain. Tang-san, you don't deserve to be called the sea god. My voice was ice cold. I stepped closer to him step by step. You used the supreme god's power to slaughter wantonly, treating lives like worthless grass. Now you're even threatening the whole earth. This kind of behavior makes you nothing but a despicable coward. When Tang-san saw his deception didn't work, a flash of madness crossed his eyes. He raised his hand to detonate his supreme god origin. But before he could finish his move, I was already standing right in front of him. I grabbed his neck with one hand and lifted him up in midair. You don't even have the right to blow yourself up. I gathered energy at my fingertips. Strands of golden energy threads drilled into Tang-san's body. First they sealed off his supreme god origin, then they shattered his meridians bit by bit and destroyed all his soul power and divine core. Tang-san let out a shrill scream. His body kept struggling, but he couldn't move at all. I didn't kill him right away. I wanted to make him suffer as much as possible and pay the price for what he had done. I waved my hand. Several energy blades slashed at his limbs one after another, cutting off his hands and feet forcefully. Then I used the silk threads of chaos power to corrode his body little by little, letting him feel the pain of his internal organs being gnawed. His screams rang through the whole world. The madness in his eyes was gradually replaced by fear. At the end, he didn't even have the strength to speak. Only his eyes were staring at me fiercely, full of despair. When Xiao Wu saw Tang-san being tortured beyond recognition, a trace of sadness flashed in her eyes. Ignoring her own plummeting strength, she turned into a black shadow and pounced at me. She tried to lock my neck with her soft bone lock skill. Her power was as weak as a child's in front of me. I waved my hand casually and knocked her flying. She fell heavily to the ground, coughing up blood. I glanced at Xiao Wu, who was collapsed on the ground. She was extremely beautiful, even though she was in such a sorry state right now. Her delicate and pretty face was still obvious. Besides, the fusion between the supreme god power in her body and Cthulhu's chaos power is extremely special. Compared to Tang-san, whose origin was already corrupted, her body still retains a complete sample of chaos power, which has very high research value. Thinking of this, I struck the back of Xiao Wu's neck with a burst of energy and knocked her unconscious, but I didn't take her life. Meanwhile, Tang-san, who was in endless pain, finally breathed his last breath. His body was completely corroded by the chaos silk threads and turned into a puddle of black water. Not even a single speck of ash was left. He became the one who died the most tragically. Among all the invading powerful enemies, by now, all the top anime protagonists that were corrupted by Cthulhu's consciousness have been wiped out. The dimensional crisis on Earth has been temporarily resolved. The chaotic black mist on the battlefield gradually dispersed. Sunlight broke through the clouds and fell on the devastated ground. Hundreds of thousands of Earth guards cheered in unison, their voices resounding through the sky. But I didn't feel any joy at all. I stood high in the sky looking at the mess below, and the sense of crisis in my heart grew stronger. The enemies that came this time seemed powerful, but they were only mid-tier combat power from various universes. If the next time Cthulhu's consciousness summons the immortal emperors and gods from the Eastern Immortal Cultivation universe, or even the three pure ones and Donghuang Taiyi from the Primordial universe, or destroyer gods and angels from the Dragon Ball universe, etc., with my current 10,000 Dragon Ball power level, I can't resist them at all. The root cause of the dimensional invasion has always been the unnameable power of Cthulhu. As long as the Cthulhu origin is not eliminated for one day, the Earth and even the entire universe will always be in danger. To completely solve the dimensional crisis, the only way is to find the origin power of Cthulhu and completely destroy it, so that the danger can be eliminated forever. I waved my hand. A wave of energy rolled the unconscious Xiao Wu in front of me. Then I ordered the guards to clean up the battlefield and repair the damaged parts of the Earth. And I brought Xiao Wu back to the top-secret research lab of Dragon Country's Global Defense Command Center. This research lab gathers the top scientific researchers from all over the world and is equipped with the most advanced research equipment of Dragon Country, especially built to study dimensions, energy, and Cthulhu's chaotic power. And right now, Xiao Wu is the best sample for researching Cthulhu's powers. Lock her in the energy isolation chamber. Extract the chaotic power from her body to make mixed samples with God King power. Analyze its energy fluctuations. Make sure you find clues related to Cthulhu's origin. I ordered the person in charge of the research lab. I watched the researchers take Xiao Wu into the specially made isolation chamber. Countless thin energy probes pierced into her body. To start extracting energy samples, complex energy data kept flashing on the screen. The interwoven patterns of chaotic power and God King power slowly spread across the screen. After getting everything arranged, I went back to the top floor of the command center, standing alone by the window, watching the city slowly regain its vitality outside. I kept thinking in my mind about ways to find Cthulhu's origin. Cthulhu's power comes from chaos, hidden deep in the dimensional rifts. It might be somewhere in the universe, or in the gaps between dimensional spaces. Trying to find it is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Days passed by. With the efforts of the defense force, Earth gradually returned to its former look. The destroyed city started to be rebuilt. The injured civilians got proper medical treatment. The 4 superpower corps are also recruiting and training intensively, getting stronger and stronger, and exciting news kept coming in from the research lab one after another. In the chaotic power samples researchers extracted from Xiao Wu's body, they found a unique type of spatial ripple. This ripple doesn't come from Earth, nor does it come from the Dulo universe. It comes from the depths of the universe. This ripple is also extremely unique. It's the exclusive ripple of Cthulhu's origin power. As long as we can lock the source of this ripple, we can find the exact location of Cthulhu's origin. Just when researchers were fully analyzing this spatial ripple and trying to locate Cthulhu's origin, a weak but extremely steady dark energy signal came from the depths of the universe and went straight into the command center's energy receiver. This energy signal carried the unique dark ripple of the Ultra Universe. It felt both familiar and strange. I recognized it instantly as Belial's power. I immediately told the technicians to analyze this energy signal. A blurry footage slowly appeared on the screen. In the footage, Belial's dark arc form was already badly damaged. His body was covered with hideous wounds. Surrounding him was surging chaotic black fog, and in front of him was a huge, chaotic core radiating indescribable power. That was Cthulhu's origin. Belial's voice was full of intense pain and anger. Coming through the energy signal, Cthulhu's origin is located deep in the universe. At the Nebula Eye, I used up all my power to lock its coordinates. My dark power is about to disappear. Destroy it for me. Avenge the Ultra Universe. At the end of the footage, Belial let out a shrill roar. His body turned into a dark purple stream of light, charging towards Cthulhu's origin, but was instantly torn apart by the origin's chaotic tentacles and completely vanished into the universe. And the coordinates of Cthulhu's origin, that he left with his last bit of dark power, was clearly displayed on the screen, deep in the universe. The Nebula Eye. It's the place with the densest nebulas in the entire universe, and the area with the most intense spatial fluctuations. Belial, the dark giant of the Ultra Universe, was arrogant and unruly his whole life, and did countless evil things. But at the last moment of his life, to avenge the Ultra Universe and stop Cthulhu's corruption, he used up all his strength and left behind the coordinates of Cthulhu's origin, becoming a hero that saved the universe. Looking at Belial vanishing on the screen, I was filled with mixed emotions. Then a look of determination flashed in my eyes. The analysis result of the chaotic power ripple from the lab perfectly matches the coordinates Belial left behind. The location of Cthulhu's origin is finally locked. No time to waste. I immediately gathered the top leaders of the Earth Defense Force. To arrange Earth's defense matters, I will head to the depths of the universe to destroy Cthulhu's origin. During the time I'm away, the 4 of you will run the command center together and command the 4 superpower corps. If a new dimensional invasion happens, activate the highest defense level immediately. Rely on the chi cultivation method and defend Earth to the death. The 4 corps commanders answered in unison. their eyes full of determination. I nodded. The chi around me surged like a tide. I activated the Wukong technique with full power. My body turned into a golden stream of light, soaring straight into the sky, pass through Earth's atmosphere, and enter the vast expanse of the universe. The depths of the universe are pitch black. Countless nebulae slowly spin before my eyes. Asteroid belts float throughout the universe. All kinds of cosmic rays zip through them. I'm moving at breakneck speed, zipping past one nebula after another, crossing one asteroid belt after another, racing straight towards the nebula eye. I don't know how long I've been flying. The nebulae ahead get denser and denser. Colorful nebulae weave together, forming a gigantic, wide-open-looking eye. This is the nebula eye, and right at the center of the nebula eye, a huge mass of chaotic black fog slowly swirls. Countless thick tentacles thrash wildly inside the fog. Each tentacle is covered with grotesque eyes, emitting an indescribable, bone-chilling power. The surrounding space is corroded by the black fog, warped into eerie curved shapes. This is the true form of Cthulhu. The second I get close to the nebula eye, a powerful wave of mental corruption hits me, trying to invade my consciousness and drive me insane. I immediately focus and calm my mind to fend off the mental corruption. Cthulhu's true form is way more powerful than I thought. Its power isn't just plain chaotic energy, it's an indescribable power that combines space, psychic, destruction, and other types of energy. If an average powerful being got close, they'd be hit by the mental corruption instantly and turn into part of the chaos. I float in space, staring at Cthulhu's true form in front of me, thinking of how to destroy it. With my 10,000 combat power, if I attack head-on directly, I might be able to hurt it. But I can't destroy it completely. It'll just make it angry instead, making it unleash even stronger chaotic energy that will corrupt the entire universe. To completely destroy Cthulhu's true form, I can only rely on one type of power. That is one of the most powerful moves in the Dragon Ball world, the Spirit Bomb. The Spirit Bomb can gather energy from all living beings to form an incredibly powerful energy bomb. Its power depends on how much energy it gathers. If I can gather energy from every living being in the universe, the power of this Spirit Bomb will be enough to destroy any core power. Thinking of this, I slowly close my eyes, linking my own Ka to the entire space of the universe, and start releasing gentle waves of Kai to resonate with the consciousness of all living beings in the universe. I am the guardian of Earth. Right now, Cthulhu's true form, deep in space, is continuously corrupting our home and wants to destroy the whole universe. I need your help. Lend me your energy. Help me destroy Cthulhu's true form and protect our universe. My consciousness spreads along with the Ki waves to every corner of the entire universe, reaching every inhabited planet. At first, the beings across the universe were full of wariness and confusion, but when they felt the chaotic threat from Cthulhu's true form and sensed my resolve and sincerity, beings from planet after planet started to release their own energy. Streaks of faint energy came from every corner of the universe and gathered together. The colorful torrent of energy weaved through space into a huge band of glowing energy, slowly gathering in the palm of my hand. I can clearly feel the power in my palm getting stronger and stronger. That's the hope of all living beings in the universe. It's the will of the entire universe. I slowly open my eyes. The Spirit Bomb in my palm keeps growing bigger until it becomes a huge sphere with a diameter of tens of thousands of kilometers, emitting a blinding light that lights up the dark universe. Even the chaotic black fog of the nebula eye is pushed back a little by this light. Cthulhu, your end is here. I roar loudly. I put all my strength into my arms and hurl this Spirit Bomb that gathered energy from all living beings in the universe straight at Cthulhu's core. The huge Spirit Bomb carries the power of the entire universe, rushing towards the chaotic black fog like a meteor. Cthulhu's core seems to sense the fatal threat. Countless chaotic tentacles thrash wildly, trying to stop the Spirit Bomb from moving forward. But in front of the Spirit Bomb with the entire universe's energy, these tentacles are like paper, torn apart in an instant, turning into wisps of black fog and disappearing. The Spirit Bomb slams hard into Cthulhu's core, letting out a deafening boom that echoes across the universe. The blinding light instantly engulfs the nebula eye. The chaotic black fog is slowly torn apart by the light of the Spirit Bomb and purified bit by bit. Cthulhu's core lets out a shrill scream, full of indescribable pain and rage. But against the energy of the entire universe, its resistance is completely useless. The giant chaos core is being bombarded by the spirit bomb, breaking apart bit by bit, finally turning into wispy, faint black mist, dissipating into the universe. The chaos ripples from the nebula eye are completely gone. The surrounding warped space starts returning to normal. The colorful nebula gradually goes back to its usual peaceful state. Cthulhu's source power has been completely destroyed. I'm floating in the universe, watching the dissipating chaotic black mist, heaving a long sigh of relief. The spirit bomb in my palm fades away slowly. The energy inside my body is also totally exhausted. A wave of tiredness washes over my whole body, but my heart feels totally light and relaxed. The Cthulhu contamination in this universe is finally fully erased. The dimensional rifts start closing up slowly. The Earth and even the entire universe has finally gotten rid of the threat from Cthulhu, but just as I'm getting ready to go back to Earth, I catch a glimpse out of the corner of my eye that every corner of the universe still has faint, chaotic ripples coming from different space-time rifts. These ripples don't come from this universe. They come from other parallel universes. My heart sinks, and I realize right away, Cthulhu's power doesn't exist in just one universe. It exists in every single parallel universe. I only destroyed Cthulhu's source in this universe. Other parallel universes are still contaminated by Cthulhu's power. They're still suffering from dimensional invasions. Countless living beings are still struggling in the chaotic slaughter. If I let this go on, it won't be long before Cthulhu's sources from other universes will invade this universe again through the space-time rifts. All the hard work I put in will be for nothing by then. I stand in the universe, staring at those slowly rotating space-time rifts. My resolve gets stronger and stronger. Since I've destroyed Cthulhu's source in this universe, since I have 10,000 points of Dragon Ball combat power, since I can gather the universe's spirit energy, then it's my responsibility to save those parallel universes contaminated by Cthulhu. Earth's defenses are already solid. The 4 superpower legions are more than enough to guard Earth, and I'm going to start my cross-universe rescue journey to clean up the remaining Cthulhu contamination and protect more living beings across the universes. I don't hesitate at all. I move my body and dash towards the most stable space-time rift among them. This space-time rift leads to an unknown parallel universe. There's no coordinates, no direction. Everything is random. But I'm not scared at all. The moment I pass through the space-time rift, a strong scent of immortal energy hits me. It's totally different from the Dragon Ball universes, Emperor energy and Cthulhu's chaotic power. This immortal energy is pure and rich. It carries the unique charm of an Eastern cultivation world. I slowly land on the ground. Below my feet is a lush green mountain forest. Immortal energy drifts all through the forest. Rare flowers and exotic herbs grow everywhere. In the distance, an ancient village sits in the valley. The living beings in the village aren't human. They're huge, burly, bare people covered in brown fur. They're holding stone axes, faint ripples of immortal power coming off their bodies. They're bustling around the village. On a huge boulder not far away, 3 ancient characters are carved. Bearman Village. I'm stunned for a second. Then I realize what's going on. The first parallel universe I traveled to is actually the world of Bearman cultivation biography. Right now at the end of the valley, a thick cloud of chaotic black mist is slowly surging out of a small, dimensional rift, spreading towards the Bearman immortal village. Cthulhu's contamination has already invaded this cultivation world. A new battle of protection is about to begin.